Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another glorious TFTV Grand Final, ETF2L Season 31. This is the Div 2 Grand Finals. This is obviously Season 31, sponsored by Copenhagen Games and STN.TF. I am eepily, joined by Beta on camera and production and all that wizardry, and co-casting with me, once again, we get another one this season, Ombrack. How's it going? This might actually be our third, I think.
I don't count. I don't keep track. I'm sorry. Yes, that's me. I'm really happy to be there for the third day in a row. I'm a caster main now, and once more these games, and I should be exciting. I feel like I'm blessed these days.
Yeah, I mean, I said both these teams, I think, have got some far more recognizable names than maybe the game I casted yesterday. You know, not to say the low grand finals wasn't an absolute banger, and people should probably check that out for some. It's a kind of revolutionary gameplay yesterday. You can't make up on the spot. It was something quite inspirational, really. But I said we got some big names. We got some people. Really, I mean, a couple of them have been hovering around that high towards Prem kind of border for quite a while now. So I feel like this is a pretty stacked couple teams, right?
Yeah, some names we've seen here and there. One could say we have some Pugs Lords all around in each teams. So yeah, if you are a usual TF2 player, you will recognize one of these names. Some would be a little more obscure, but when we go through the rosters, things will make more sense. But yeah, I think there's actually I was surprised to see that many good players on each side of the battlefield, and I think we're in for actually good plays, because I think it's like these players are known for being quite spectacular in the way they play. I'm thinking about some names, and yeah, I think some of them even played Prem at some point. So definitely a good level of skill and experience for this game.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where it may be that you might see this very same grand final happening on your average Saturday night on PugChamp, but these players, they aren't all about the DM. You've got players who've been going for so many seasons at this kind of level that like they properly know what's going on, and they played with each other, through like the different teams which is formed over the different seasons and the 900,000 pugs. Like, these players are going to have a real sense of how to play with each other, how to like play to their strengths, how to make things happen, how to, deal with any kind of weaknesses they're perceiving in the enemy team. And I think it's just going to be super exciting. Should be some pretty high quality stuff. And obviously, we did see the Div 1 Grand Finals yesterday. That was pretty nail-biting from the bit I saw before I ended up falling asleep way too early. And I think this is going to be pretty similar. I mean, I hesitate to worry too much about going over rosters just yet. I kind of feel like maybe we should do that once they're in the server, but we should have some map info at least, because I feel like it's gonna come down a lot. I think what have we got? We've got some map wise. Oh, we do have a little bit of information. Product, Gully, Sunshine, presumably in that order. That's spicy.
Yeah, and that's actually quite interesting to see these maps, Product and Gullywash. First, because Product is always exciting to see. I remember actually one of the game we casted together this season, eepily, was on Product. It was 7 against Swift, and it was pretty exciting because it's never-ending action. People are always relentless to go forwards. So it's interesting to see that map, because that's just Product. And the other interesting bit is that these two teams, they faced each other earlier in the season. We might add as well that both of these teams are from Div 2A, which is the same group. There were two divisions in Div 2 this season, and both of these teams played in the same group during the regular season. They faced each other, and Yakuza won. That was actually the only 6-0 loss that Clarted had to go through this season. And I'll let you guess the map. It was Product and Gullywash, and Yakuza won both of them. So maybe some kind of preemptive final already shenanigans.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to pick maps in a grand final, those two maps that you just like trounce the other team on, it feels like, yeah, that's probably going to happen. But then again, assuming this is the right ordering, Product, Gully, Sunshine, at least one of either Product or Gully would have had to be the other team's pick then, surely, because of how the system works.
Gullywash was Clarted pick, and Yakuza picked Product, because they had I don't know how they picked the first map. I guess they maybe won a heavy fist fight that I'm not aware of. But yeah, Yakuza picked product. It would be the first map, and Clarted retaliated with a gully pick.
So clearly, your boys in Clarted reckon they've sorted out Gully. You know, they want to prove a point and be like, okay, you may have beaten us first time around, but now we actually know what's going on. All our brains are going to be engaged, and we're gonna at least bring the fight back to them. I think like starting on Viaduct is like, I think it's such a hell of a way to start a grand final because exactly like you said, it's super intense. It's like constant action all the time with these kind of teams where you got players who, that they're not all DM, but it's something they can certainly put a heavy emphasis on. You've got off-classing potential on both teams. You've got so many different things you can do on Viaduct. It's just like it's the kind of thing where straight out the gate, these people are just gonna be like at each other's throats.
Yeah, and especially in games where teams are supposed to be somewhat even skill-wise, product can be such a throw-off if you're not ready because if the map it's one of these maps, there's not that much time on it, and if you're not ready right from the start, you might as well just get a 1 round, even 2 round deficit, and going from there, it's really hard to come back. So I think Perks is one of these maps that really leaves no room for mistake, and seeing it as a first map, it's yeah, one of these teams you obviously don't want to lose the first map in the best of 3 series, but I feel like product is so unpredictable. It's really hard to say to be confident, I think, going into these maps because you never know how good you are TM wise, how you're feeling it on this very evening, and how is the enemy team as well. So a lot of unpredictable stuff that can happen right after like the few first seconds of that final.
It's the kind of thing where just one guy having a bit of a better performance on that day can completely turn things around on a map like Viaduct. I feel like Viaduct is as close to like it's the map we have closest to like that CS kind of feeling where in CS one guy who's just absolutely tearing stuff up can just single-handedly take over a game, and Viaduct I think is about as close as we can get in terms of real individual impact, just being able to dominate consistently all the way over the course of the map. But I think we're getting some players into the server, so I feel like it's time we start talking about some rosters because I feel like we've got to dedicate at least a decent amount of time to the recognizable names we hear. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take Clarted, run through the roster, and I'll leave the Yakuza side to you. So on the side of Clarted, we do have, I believe, right, this is gonna be a little bit difficult for me to work out. This should be Cars is gonna be on Medic. I believe it's Vori and Gazy on Scout. Matty Azien, Charlie on Soldier, and I think OJ on Demo. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
That sounds about right.
You just have to swap OJ and Maddie around. Maddie's playing Demo while OJ is playing Roma, but you were close enough.
I was pretty close. I was trying to guess a little bit. Unfortunately, they've used about 90 different aliases in every game, so I was just little bit uncertain. But we've seen OJ do a lot of demo stuff before in previous seasons, and a decent amount of Soldier as well. So a lot of flexibility here, but. Like I said, ultimately, players we got, Matty Azien, Kaz, Vori, Charlie, Gazy, OJ, all recognizable guys. They are all Brits of the highest caliber, basically, other than non-Brits.
Can you be a Brit of high caliber?
Ombrack, let's not get into that. Run us through Yakuza.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So Yakuza have Drezzo on the medic. The demo man is Gona. Everex is playing Pocket. You may have seen him in a couple pucks, maybe. The roamer is Yunu, and the scouts are Callum, who's filling in for Lupus on the Pocket Scout role, and the roaming scout will be Ince. Ince, that is one of the players that has seen Prem before. I think it was with Lemmings around season 26.
I remember.
So he knows what the best of all TF2 is, and his counterpart on Cloudhead is Charlie. So each of these teams have one former Prem player.
Well, Callum has also played Prem. You gotta, he may be a merc, but he has played Prem. Yeah,
but he's not one of the regular roster members, so that's why I left him on the side.
He's in the server, and yeah, maybe he played Prem on Soldier. That's like his main class, but he's been tearing up. I mean, Callum did win mid last season on Scout, so I mean, maybe this is where he wins Div 2 as well.
Maybe he needs another medal to put above his chimney. I don't know.
Above his chimney?
Isn't that where you put your trophy, eepily?
I wouldn't know, unfortunately, Ombrack.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
I wouldn't possibly know. Right, we say we're sitting on a cool 8 or 9 people in the server, waiting on just a few people to finish up the little pre-game scrims. I didn't get a real big chance to kind of see what things have been happening in terms of scrims. We already said about the one-on-one kind of matchups over the course of the season. We did actually talk that there was a really kind of a weird week 7 game for Yakuza. They lost 5-1 to a team that you really wouldn't expect them to lose to. Not to throw any shade the side of Ziffer or Zypher, however you pronounce that. But not really a team which you'd expect to be, contesting this kind of team right at the top of Div 2, and yet Yakuza did lose, so there's all kind of reasons why that could be. Maybe it's just a case of, it was the end of the season, they were kind of going towards playoffs, or it might just be a case of, I don't know, somehow the boys on Ziffer, they worked out something which no one else in Div 2 had worked out.
I
Might be
think there
there's
was
some weaknesses ready to exploit.
around the time where Lupus starting to be missing, so Yakuza wasn't able to practice as much as they wanted, and maybe they just realized they were already secured. They already secured the first spot, so maybe they just get some slack on the scrim schedule and played a little less. So maybe that's one of the reasons. But we should mention as well that Yakuza finished first. I don't know if we said that before, but they finished first in the Div 2 A, while clarted finished second. So one more little thing that can give a slight edge to Yakuza, but I feel like again this map is really unexpected, and I don't know how well Callum will fit in that team, because you mentioned that he's murking. Scout is not really, yes, you won Scout, you won a mid as Scout last season, but I think
it's a very different kind of experience. It's a very different level he's playing at. Said he was fantastic in those mid grand finals, making huge individual plays, but said you look at the kind of caliber of players he's going against, and he no longer looks out of place as just playing better. These guys are gonna at least be able to contest him far, far more. I do think, of all the maps to start off with, I think if you're going to get your Merc activated, obviously getting a scout, starting it on Viaduct, if they can start hitting some good shots, maybe you can start the train rolling a little bit. But really, I feel like the scout potential on each team is, I would maybe give the edge to Yakuza a little bit. I said Ince is just a plain just nutty scout. Dude's got absolutely ridiculous fragging power, and Callum's absolutely no slacker. So maybe a tiny edge, but not really much. We've seen Vori take over games on scout before in previous seasons.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about scouts on product, I think we have to mention the sniper off class, because it's pretty much mandatory. And I think both teams have a very able sniper. Ince being the one who can do that for Yakuza, and because he's Russian and plays scout, so of course he can play sniper as well. And
it's just the rules.
Yeah, and Vori on the other side, I think Vori is one of the guys that can pop off on sniper as well. I'm gonna take a risk, and I think Gazi also plays a lot of pyro, so
Ooh.
maybe we could see that probably most likely on Gully Wash rather than product. But I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some flamethrower action at some point because of Gazi.
I mean, straight up on Viaduct, I feel maybe not as just a regular plan, but if they go a round or two down, I feel like it's 100% viable to bring out the pyro, because detonator or scorch shot on Viaduct is absolutely ridiculous. It's not just that explosive flame damage, so you're constantly taking them down. It's the way that it messes with the medic's ability to heal. No, it doesn't really gone swept under the rug or whatever, but I still feel like people kind of tend to underestimate how much of a difference that makes. That whole change where they made it so if you're on fire, it's almost impossible to heal them consistently. And if you can just keep spamming those detonators, there's suddenly 3 or 4 people on fire. The medic on the enemy team is now just he's not able to buff anyone. That can be so important. But I feel like it might happen. But actually, they're keen. We're going live, so here we go. This is going to be Div 2 Grand Finals. This is Yakuza versus Clarted here in this ETF2L Season 31, sponsored by Copenhagen Games and STN.tf. Going to this mid here. No off classes so far. Matty AZN taking some decent position towards point, but just waiting on the rest of his team, waiting for this initial bit of engagement. Both soldiers on both teams actually playing super passive. We now see this first bomb from Uni going straight behind Little counter bomb from OJ, but the fighting's going to be all towards point at this time, and actually neither team's really able to take too much position, trading frags so far, but the double scout combo from Ince and Callum wrecking towards point, and just seems like Drezzo's able to play super safe. It's only really Matty Azien who's going to be close, and he's going to get absolutely annihilated by Callum.
Yeah, both teams went on to that mid-fight kind of the same way, trying to play a bit passively, see what's going to happen, and I think that was funny because both soldiers bombed at the exact same time for each team, so they kind of met each other in the air, and I think in the end that was the positioning of Gona who allowed Yakuza to take the edge of a Matty because Matty was a bit pushed back, and now the sack is coming onto Drezzo. It drops
my
first
God!
drop after
That was
like
just
1
solo!
minute. 1
That
minute,
was
one
such
drop.
nutty rockets, yeah! Sorry, straight just dropped there for Drezzo. OJ already hitting these nutty rockets, and what I think was just going to be a sack wave was actually just going to be an easy drop there. Rest of the players on Clarted just going to be happy to either die or get out there. They're going to be spawning with this huge Uber advantage, about 80%, and Drezzo's not actually with his team. I feel like this is a really good opportunity for Clarted to just try and move up towards point without having to use this Uber.
And the counter bomb is coming from Ince. It was helped by Everex and everybody's going in actually, but Cars is well protected. He doesn't have to use his Uber, and that sack wave didn't really quite work out for Yakuza, and I think that was the difference between the two teams. Drezzo wasn't really protected by his teammates when the bomb came in from OJ, whereas Cars was in extremely safe hands here, just hiding and waiting for the people to clean everyone up. So we can already see the small differences that can make a lot of impact for a game on products.
Yeah, I mean, one sack got one drop, and then four guys running in got absolutely nothing at all. We are going to see Yakuza try and bust out through main, taking a lot of damage before they're using this Uber, and there's some flank plays from the side of Clarted. So as much as they have a much better Uber, it actually seems like Cars might be just a little bit caught out now. Suddenly this flank is trying to get something in, but Cars is going to be surfing away, and the rest of his players are going to be getting some decent frags here. So difficult for Yakuza to really do anything but just kind of back up towards spawn. It just seems like they're not really able to take any space here.
Yeah. I think Cloud is extremely good right now at focus fire, like identifying lone targets and shoot them down as soon as they're here. So picking up easy frags. And they've been focusing Gona quite a lot as well. So when you don't have a demon product, it's going to be really hard for you to either have a hold or break a hold, and not I think Yakuza trying to get out of that little choke point, and they kind of do it quite well on using one in that process.
We're actually seeing more frags go out there. Again, solo bomb from Charlie this time. Jumps in, takes down Drezzo. Once again, it's going to be Yakuza side without any heals at all. They're going to be trying to walk forward, and I mean, Kaza's got a scout, his demo, his soldier, all just playing around him so patiently. They are going to be playing for this Uber instead of playing for the point here, so it's going to be a huge advantage. They're going to have to give up a little bit of point time as a result, but really this should be it's just such an easy recap at this point. Yakuza knows they can't really contest it, and they've now got an 80% disadvantage with about 1 minute 20 left on the clock here.
And Ince dies to a lone rocket. That was a spam rocket, and just directed him in his face. Pretty unlucky to lose your scout in that situation. And now they quite sizable Uber advantage here, eepily for Clouded, and they could take that aggressively onto that cliff side, because we can see that Drezzo is quite forward actually with only 60%. And the bomb is coming again onto Cars. He's launched into the air. He doesn't quite use his Uber, and he has to, because otherwise he would have traded. And that bomb was successful. And maybe now there's some things to do, because they will have an Uber ad for Yakuza, and maybe they have to make something happen, because less than 45 seconds now on the clock for Clouded.
Yeah, they got to be really careful, because a drop at this point almost just spells the end of this round for them entirely. They're going to be moving towards Cliff, taking a lot of really good position. They're going to be using and manage to get this first frag onto Charlie, so it's all good. But this deep bomb from the soldier, he's actually going to take down Cars here, so that's as much as they need to get for this Uber. Callum, a little bit overstaying his welcome, and he will go down, so this is now 4v4. There's going to be no heals on the side of Clarted, but there is a soldier jumping in. Gets nothing though, a little bit too far ahead of his team. And it's still, there's so many messy trade frags going on, and actually Drezzo's going to die right at the end of this fight. So in all of this, there's actually been no real advantage gained by Yakuza other than this 10-15 seconds of time on this point. So I don't know, this is going to be so hard to hold.
That was so unfortunate. I think Vori got launched onto Drezzo by a rocket from Yunu, so it's kind of friendly fire, if you may call it that way. And now the Ubers are somewhat slight out for Clouded. They take the point, they drive this really well done. They lose the scout in that process, and OJ dies as well. So now it's looking a bit bleaker because they haven't quite capped that point. Not much left, but not much is not enough. And now Yakuza, they're taking the positioning, and even though they don't have it, but this doesn't really matter on product, because as long as you have the numbers, this is pretty much all you need to have. That bomb from Yunu is unsuccessful, and now they will have to go back and give that Uber ad the respect it deserves.
Yeah, it's so smart from clarted here. They fully committed to this Uber advantage. They didn't try and take these dodgy fights even with a player advantage. They were like, okay, we're just going to play super slow, we're going to play this ad, we're going to get this point. And now Yakuza has so much to do. It's going to be Uber force out just a little bit early. Drezzo's not quite used, but he hasn't actually got it yet. He's 95%. Doesn't look like he's going to be dying too quickly, though. No, he will! To this pipe, 97%, and I think that's going to be it for the entire round.
Just one pipe basically ruined it all for Drezzo and for Yakuza. That was quite unfortunate, and I think the main reason both these teams are a bit struggling right now, there's so much, the soldiers have pretty much free reign in the air, so nobody really denying them, and I feel like both teams need to figure out something to counter that, because we've seen especially Charlie jumping in completely freely and forcing Drezzo twice.
It's just, it's so weird. It's complete opposite of what you see soldiers doing. These kind of, well, in this map in particular, this should be scout heaven, but again, some deep bombs from soldiers, actually a flanking player from each side, so there's going to be a lot of spam moving towards point. Neither team opting to take it so far. A lot of damage coming from Yunu behind, but he will actually get taken down now. We have another player going down on the side of Yakuza. Drezzo trying to get out main. He's so just desperate to get out with his life, but he's going to get chased by OJ, who might actually, he's going to catch him right at the end of this mid-fight, so really good stuff from clarted.
Again, both teams went onto the middle with the same idea in mind, getting a soldier on the flank, try to play from behind, but I feel like right now this is just the DM allowing clarted to take the lead on this map. I think that they're just having better shots right now, and this is not much, but on a map such as product, this is pretty much, again, all you need. Just if you frag more, you're gonna get such an advantage on that map. And now once more, Yakuza have to work with the disadvantage.
It's actually going to be basically a sack wave here. They're actually going to get the force pretty quickly, and at least they're going to die quickly as well, because that's sometimes something which can be a problem on Vardak. If you just live too long when you're doing these sack waves, suddenly your kind of spawns are all kind of out of sync with the rest of your team, but super clean, really nice. So it's going to be about 6% advantage now. I think it's going to be so important for Yakuza to try and get through without losing anyone, without using this Uber to just buy themselves some point time, because with all this time, they're trying to go slowly towards Cliff. That time is still ticking down. Yeah,
they're going super slowly. OJ is already behind, but Uber is being used onto Column and Ins. They claim a frag on the demo, so that's pretty good, but now they need to be careful because both Charlie and OJ are behind. We were talking about the soldiers before. Both of them are pushing the cap time. They get Gona, so again, the demo frag is extremely important in that. And Charlie actually manages to escape.
Oh my lord,
he's getting chased. I doubt he lives that. Yeah, Callum cleans him up. That was almost perfect here from Charlie and OJ. And now again, the Ubers are just being traded. The Ubers ads are being traded, and now it's up to clarted to work with their own Uber ads.
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, because if clarted can take this point for free, they would have basically done this twice as efficiently as Yakuza did, you know, looking like the time on the clock. And I mean, it looks like Yakuza's super aware of this Uber advantage. Like, it just doesn't seem like clarted's taking any real spam towards the point. Yeah, Charlie, you know, in fact, he won't even die. He seems so far forward. It just seems like there's no real control over the point for Yakuza. Now they will use this Uber. They'll take down Mathias Yen. That's the one redeeming feature here, but it is a much better Uber for the side of clarted. And it should be Drezzo going down as long as we can hit these all-important shots. But actually, oh, he will just about die. I thought he might get through that, but oh my lord, so scrappy.
Everybody's weak onto Yakuza, and I feel like Ins and Callum really need to step it up, because we've seen it once more. You mentioned that Charlie bombing and not being punished. So again, that soldier work is doing so much for clarted at the moment, and Yakuza can't look to find the answer on that issue. And I feel like, yeah, again, Ins and Callum maybe need to be a bit more forward, a bit more assertive in the way they play.
I mean, in this kind of situation, it's literally just a case of Yakuza can't get this pressure on the point. Look at this, they're just crumbling one player after another after another. That all just came from, you know, not even committing to the point, just one guy peeking, and then another guy's just a little bit too far forward. Another one, exactly what you said. Clarted focusing these players just miles better than Yakuza.
And the main difference is Vuri is actually playing aggressively towards the enemy team. He's not waiting for them to bomb, he's actually denying them by going forward and hitting the juicy meat-shots that you need to hit to deny the jumps. And I think that's all the difference between the two teams now.
What an air shot on the cars!
Everett.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
claiming his nickname properly, being a bridge at MG chat, claiming a nice drop, nice Uber annihilation here, and now Drizzle died as well, so this is all for nothing pretty much for Yakuza, because yeah, they're gonna get the point, but that Uber art is being completely nullified, and they barely got the cap because Maddie hitting everything.
This is absolutely ridiculous. It does look like, actually, okay, clarted is going to be the ones to just call it a little bit right. We're going to chill a little bit. We're going to wait for our guys. Mathiasien playing around as medic now, so this is equal Ubers, but 16 seconds on the clock. Yakuza just need to get their spawners and go. Gona and Callum just only getting up, so this is going to be really, really rough to even get any position towards point. You can see the positioning of Clarted. They're just playing so far back. They know they have to walk forward. One frag, immediately focus down. Going to be focusing down a second soldier now, and even a re-push here is just so good, but no. Yakuza don't even get significant cap time. It's about 50% capped, and it's just one frag after another after another. This looks like it may end up being a complete wipe if they were to chase it, but again, Clarted playing it just that little bit smarter, and I feel like they just deserve that round so much.
Yeah, Vuri and Gazi show complete disrespect towards the enemy team. They're just walking forward at all time and just walking over that point to pressure Gunnar a lot, and they're making that team winning so much run over like pretty much not an ad. Just basically, yeah, pressing W is better than pressing S on product, and they're just showing that perfectly right now.
Well, looks like Yakuza's feeling the pressure because we do have Yunu sniping. Sorry, not Yunu at all. Sniping this mid with Yunu this time on the scout. So instantly headshot, rigging out here onto Charlie. So the ability to do too much on point was going to be negated up until these two frags come out from the scouts on the clarted side. So, I mean, as you'd expect, there's a lot on Insta to hit some more shots here. For every second he doesn't hit a shot, that's kind of one more second where you're thinking, hey, we could play more aggressive with just any other class.
Yeah, he got a shot really early onto Charlie, but that wasn't quite enough for the rest of his teammate to cover the ground that they needed to capture the point. And in the end, he's still on sniper though, and this is pretty much where it's going to hurt to be Yakuza if he doesn't hit the shots, because being one player down when you don't have to cap is really hard. But as I said, I pick up Gazi, and maybe this is the opening they needed. The Uber are being used on one side, and Drizzle finally uses his own, so it's a better trade now for Yakuza.
Yeah, see, these kind of headshots, it's so important. He will now go down right at the end of this fight. We're super flank from these soldiers, and this time a little bit better focus, but the repush, it's kind of crazy how much space Clarted can get basically for free. Like from this situation, which just looks so good, suddenly Inns goes down, then suddenly it's just Callum and Gona on point. It's just every time you feel like Yakuza's going to get a stable foothold, Clarted, they're just that little bit better every time.
Yeah, because it looked like a better Uber for Drevo used after Cars, but he got picked up right after his Uber faded, and then it was just a matter of time for the rest of his teammate to be dead as well. So I don't really know what's the issue now besides focus fire. I feel like it's maybe a better understanding of the map. And the sticky trap from Medi already takes Drezo out, and it's just crumble all around now for Yakuza. Only Callum claiming a frag for himself, but that's not enough, and Cars is now going to have a full Uber ad with 1 minute and 40 seconds left until Clarted claims the first map.
I mean, Inns is definitely hitting some shots, but it doesn't really seem like the sniper's working anything more than just your standard cookie cutter classes, so they're going to be trying to push towards point with this massive disadvantage. One frag seems to make things a little bit easier for them. They do still have their sniper, but Cars still has this big Uber advantage. They shouldn't really be giving up this point for free. They're kind of trying to play that just about edge of not wanting to give up point at the same time. I feel like there might be an opportunity to try and get some deep bombs in. They will actually go for that now. Looks like Drezo's so far away though, he won't actually get picked up here, so any frags here really short of Drezo doesn't matter too much. It's kind of like, you know, goal achieved for the side of Yakuza.
And they're gonna have the Uber ad now, but Inns again being on sniper doesn't really help Yakuza's case. The Gaz is trying to put pressure, but he gets picked up right away, and a little tricky spam here from Maddie preventing Drezo to go forward, but now they're going in. They have more numbers, more Uber. This is pretty much it's perfect. But the bomb again, OJ was so close to hitting that rocket, and Drezo would have dropped because he was holding his crossbow in hands.
That again would have been such an individual play, and it would have been just like complete curtains for the side of Yakuza here in this map, but It won't just about happen yet, so they do maintain this Uber, and now, suddenly, the sniper's actually going to see a bit more use, you know? Controlling this point, playing with your sniper, forcing the enemy team to peek these sightlines in order to even get a point, to even trade an Uber, makes things much, much more difficult. There's going to be a soldier going deep to try and deal with In's nice little air shot, and he will actually crater here. So, in all of that distraction, you saw Yakuza, they just gave up all position towards point. Now, super late trade in terms of Ubers, a lot of flashing from Drezzo, so, I mean, with all these frags happening on the kind of peripheral section of the fight, it just seems to be another fight. You know, this happened time and time again where it's just Yakuza can't really get anything done.
Yeah, and Drezzo's probably gonna die as well. In's again on sniper, but he can't connect the shot, and I feel like this is maybe curtains now for Yakuza, unless they manage to pull off something quite incredible in coming back into that game. In's is trying to achieve that with a headshot onto Charlie, but now the clock is ticking ever more than ever, and this is gonna be really tight for Yakuza to come back into that game.
It's so difficult, but they're going to try. They're going to do some deep bombs all the way towards right-hand side, losing a soldier super quickly, though. It's going to be Drezzo and Callum towards point, and they can't really do anything. They're just getting picked apart. No players on the side of Clarted. Sorry, one will finally die here, but this is absolutely it. Just going to try to do what he can, but that's going to be 3-0 in some pretty quick rounds here. I mean, I don't know what I expected. I didn't expect that.
And there's pretty much no contest to that win for Clarted. I mean, there was no moment where it looked like Yakuza was ahead or in control. I feel like it was only a matter of time. They could have played this map for an hour. They wouldn't have scored a single round, I feel like.
Yeah, it really absolutely just felt like there was maybe 2 or 3 times in the entire game where it was like, okay, Yakuza has a good position. They can start doing something, you know, they can get a solid hold set up, or they can try and do something. And every time that lasted for about 10 seconds. And then they would just get absolutely annihilated by something. I think just going back to that last little bit we saw where we had the soldier from Clarted go super deep to try and get onto Inns. He goes behind, he tries to deal with Inns, whatever, you know. You have to sacrifice your sniper and just keep focusing on the point. But Yakuza didn't. They were so focused on, oh god, is he going to get a sniper? They're turning around, they're doing whatever. Clarted walked a point. They actually started capping. They got about 50% cap before any like contesting at all happened. Without, you know, there was no trading of Ubers, no whatever for that entire time. It was absolutely obscene, but we do have some logs we can look at a second. So I think, okay, so Matty Azien, I think we saw between his pipes and some really important sticky traps. I thought there's just been some, you know, super consistent damage, but obviously when it comes down to it, Viaduct is a scout map, and I mean, you look at these scouts for Clarted, that's 21 for 9, 19 for 6.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive here, showing from Vuri and Gas. But I feel like we've mentioned that in the game, and these logs highlight that pretty well. Is that how Charlie and Ojo were dominant on that map? It's rarely that you can see a pocket going neutral in the ratio. Usually, soldiers go negative on product.
Yeah.
But here, Charlie, he has a good ratio, he has good damage, and I feel like it just highlights how well OJ and him were able to create space for Matty and Vuri and Gassi to just claim the frags. And the frag number are impressive for Vuri and Gassi, but I feel this is a lot down to how Charlie and OJ played that map, basically giving no space and no breather to Yakuza.
100%. It really is the kind of map where if you can take position for free and if you can maintain position for free, everything feels so much more comfortable. It's those kind of positions where you start getting forced back and, you know, you're not quite sure what's going on. You're taking spam from different directions. It doesn't feel like you can move to point or you can hold point. That's where things start getting really rough. And that's what it felt like from, well, almost the entire game, probably about 95% of the game for Yakuza. Every time they tried to move up to a point, they'd take loads of damage, or they'd, you know, some random guy would flank and they'd get forced, or just, you know, the timing would just be a little bit off. So, you know, a couple guys would just be that little bit too far forward or whatever, you know. It wasn't, I mean, going into this, you see these players, and obviously a lot of people would recognize them from Pugs. And obviously a lot of the time in Pugs, you see a lot of like very individual plays, but really, this game seemed the exact opposite of that. Clarted won through sheer team play, and we saw Yakuza fail through just a lack of consistent team play.
Yeah, and they were not able as a team to contain the soldiers, the jumps from Charlie and OJ. So it's pretty much highlights what you just said. But going into that second map, usually when you lose a map, you're trying to keep your spirits high, because I mean it's only one map. You still have room to come back. But after such a dominant showing, it's gonna be tough for Yakuza to keep their spirits up, because I mean they've been crushed on that game with little to no hope. on claiming a round. So it's gonna be real work for them to keep their heads onto that game and believing in their chances, because now we're going on Gulawash, which is a completely different map, completely different way of playing the game. And I feel like the mistake for Yakuza was lack of understanding of the flow of product tonight.
Yeah.
So maybe going back on a more regular basis with like CPs are everywhere. So maybe going on that second map will turn the tide around, and I wouldn't dig their grave quite yet.
Yeah, was I mean we've seen it in just loads of games. I mean, said literally in the game I casted yesterday, we had that exact situation where one team was just really dominating on one map, and then the second they got to the other map, they were just like, I don't know, I'm not quite feeling it. It's like they couldn't make their mids work, they couldn't make their holds work. It just all kind of like started crumbling for them, and that was between two 5 CP maps. Going between Viaduct, our only COF map in the season, and a 5 CP map, there's I feel like there's the opportunity, at least, for Yakuza to just completely, turn this game on its head. If they really understand how to play these mids, I feel like Gully Wash mids are super, super important. It's not quite the kind of map where you'll just instantly win mid and just roll straight through to last, but you have that option if you've got that consistency in terms of really strong mids into really strong lasts. And I don't know, said we saw some really nice team play from Clarted. I feel like there's going to be some decent coordination between them, but I mean, every single player in Yakuza has that opportunity to just kind of pop off, and I think maybe just a little bit of difference in terms of map understanding, we might see a completely different team kind of show their colors.
Yeah, you mentioned how a good mid can lead into a really strong last push, and I remember from last night when we casted the Div 1 Grand Final, professional DC fighters at some point, they had such a dominant mid, they were able to spawn camp the enemy team on their
I
last
remember that. I saw that. That was
around.
Insane.
So this is actually something that can happen on Giliwash, being such a probably the shorter map in the map pool. And the other thing, the other hope for Yakuza maybe is the fact that I think Giliwash being a CP map complements their game style a bit better, because the way they play is heavily reliant on Everex on pocket and on their pocket scouts, which is Callum tonight, and it's pretty hard to have a heavy heal pocket soldier on product, because this is really not a soldier friendly map, contrary to what Charlie showed us a couple minutes ago. And I feel like being on a CP map is gonna help Everex shining a bit better with the help of Callum.
100%. Obviously, yeah, it's exactly what you said. Usually, I mean, the Clarted soldiers were a complete kind of a anomaly in terms of that, but usually you don't see soldiers able to really achieve much on Viaduct, and because it's such a scout-centric map, it's literally just a case of most teams are just going to be plowing as many heals they can into their scouts and their demo, and they're just going to let the soldiers, take some health packs every now and then, maybe an arrow every now and then, but you can't really pump those heals in the same way because it's just not, the layout doesn't work for that, and the game mode doesn't really work for that. Your soldiers are better used to be a distraction, but like I said, Gully Wash, there's so much you can do in terms of soldiers. There's so many more kind of, there's some clear choke points to work through. There's mid, which I feel like is one of the biggest variety in terms of different things you can do on mid as a soldier. There's so many different routes you can go for with all the drop downs, the kind of the low ground, the high ground, and so many different like hiding spots here and there. I feel like clearly the Clarted soldiers were more together in terms of Viaduct, but definitely I think we're going to see significantly more from Everex on this map.
Well, it better show more, otherwise it's going to be it.
I hope so, otherwise, that'll be disappointing.
So yeah, they should at least try to be better. I'm confident they can show better things. The only other thing that we can mention is that Ince can play sniper. Show a bit of it on product, and Gillywash is pretty sniper friendly, especially on its middle point. So maybe we're gonna see a bit of that as well. Going on to Clarted, we haven't talked about them on Gillywash. I feel like they play a bit of the same way that Yakuza does. We've seen similar middle approaches on product, and I think they play also a bit more around Charlie as main caller, and around Furia as pocket scout. So and Maddie is being a bit more, I'm gonna say baity, but not in the bad way. He's just complementing the damage from Charlie.
Efficient.
Yeah, exactly. low death, high damage, but not taking too many risks, from what I understand from this team. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be pretty much a clash of really similar playstyle, a similar game plan, and it's pretty much going to be down to who does it the best.
What do you think in terms of, let's say you are Yakuza, you just lost the map 3-0, absolutely disastrous in terms of Vidoc, not the start you wanted in this grand finals. Going into this first mid on Gully, what do you think they could be doing? Are they going to be going for some kind of all-out aggression, really trying, prove a point with that first mid, or are they going to be a little bit more reserved, kind of feel out their opponents a bit more?
Um, I feel like after losing that in that fashion on the first map, like being completely dominated on the DM, I feel like it would be maybe a bit smarter to trying to play a bit of a slow game, more secure, try to, reassure themselves in the things they know they can do, which is playing a bit safely. And usually when you play safely, it's low risk, low reward, but at least there's a reward. Whereas when you play high risk, sometimes you can't get rewarded at all because the enemy team is just going to be plainly better than you are. So I feel like on the first few minutes, especially the first middle, it's going to be interesting for them maybe to try to dip into the water, try to see how clarted is gonna approach that game. Because they can punish them really well if there's an early aggression from OJ, for example. You can get an early pick onto the roamer, and then from that snowball onto the middle fight. So I would be a bit more cautious, but that doesn't mean that playing aggressively and just trying to show dominance right from the start is a bad idea as well. So it's pretty much up to how they're feeling right now, and I feel playing safe is a safer option, but it doesn't mean by any means that it's the best.
No, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for the fact that they've taken these few minutes now to do just like one of those little like just like a mental reset. Everyone would have got like a little bit kind of annoyed. It's like, oh, our things aren't working, yada yada yada. A little bit upset. They've taken these few minutes to cool off, and now it might be a case of, okay, maybe we're going to go into this fast for the sake of you got to hype yourself up. I don't know necessarily how much Yakuza is like a hype based team, but you have a lot of teams which they just thrive off that ability to just, I don't know, kind of maintain momentum, but maintain those kind of energized calls, maintain that feeling of yes, we can do this, not a kind of feeling of let's slow things down, let's make sure we're playing things correctly. It's a completely kind of different mentality, but it can be just as effective if played correctly.
Yeah, again, it's pretty much. I think the psychological momentum will be extremely important. You mentioned that sometimes you get a bit tilted. I think people who play pucks often are aware that Everex has that little tilt factor, and this is really not something you want to pop off on such a game with such high stakes, because there's a final. This is the final. I mean, if you win, you're basically the best team in your division. So sometimes the pressure can kick in and make you miss some shots and stuff like that. And really, really, you don't want hit to happen now. So it's gonna be about maybe trying to going into that map a little more laid back as well, especially after you need basically to reset. You mentioned that exact word. You need to reset and try even to forget about that first map. And I wonder how big of an impact that choke or tilt or whatever you wanna call it will have onto that map that is just about to start right now.
Yeah, we gotta hope it's not gonna have too much of an impact, but we are gonna be going live here. This is gonna be Map 2, Season 31 of ETF2L, sponsored by Copenhagen Games and STN.tf. We have Clarted versus Yakuza in our Div 2 Grand Finals. No off classes to mid, no one's gonna be doing anything too crazy. I feel like you may be correct in this slightly slower approach, but we'll see. This time we see a little bit of aggression from Ince, actually playing very, very solo, but he's actually going to get forced all the way to the ground now. So a lot of the Clarted players just kind of playing around the floor, waiting for their opportunity to try and do something. Charlie gets taken down, so the demo for Yakuza is actually going to go down. There's going to be so much height on the side of Clarted. Drezzo going to get jumped. He's going to be trying to surf around, but he's actually playing so far away from the rest of his team. He's actually going to die, and this is going to be a wipe for the side of Yakuza.
And such a big mistake here, miscommunication probably between Gona and the rest of his team, because it looked like as a whole Yakuza tried to take a slow approach somehow, but Gona would just walked over the point and nobody was here to support him, so obviously he died.
No.
And from that, when you lose your demo man on Gullywash middle, you're pretty much doomed to just leave, otherwise you're gonna get wiped. And Yakuza didn't leave and Yakuza got wiped.
I mean, Yeah, it did seem like definitely, exactly what you said, definite lack of communication, a little bit not going according to the game plan, so they've got to just kind of forget that now. They have got a gun up and they're going to be playing for this last point. There's no stickies towards point, so there's a bit of an opportunity for clarted to try and make some kind of point play here if they can force Gunnar into water. He's actually going to get into water now, so there's going to be no free frags, no free point play. They're going to be dealing with this gun here. Taking some decent position towards his top right-hand side, but rotate from Yakuza has come in, and there's still no real pressure on going here. A deep bomb from Charlie's actually going to be taking down one player here, two players now. It's suddenly only three players up on the side of Yakuza, but these late frags are coming in. Some nice pipes from Goda, but it's just going to be Drezzo now trying to get on the point, trying to solve someone. He actually gets the Uber just about in time. They're trying to blast him off point, and I mean, the spawns are just only getting in here. He's still trying to just try and live as much as possible. The soldier comes in, it's going to be fracking damage on the point. So much time. It has to do so much, but he's just not going to do it.
There was a nice play from Jetso, but in the end there was just a delay into that run for Clouded, and Clouded pushed that really well because they realized so many people were just hiding in spawn and under point that they didn't have to rush things. They just had to take position, take the high ground, and just spam it out, and that's exactly what happened. And that show from Drezzo was basically just a delay, and that's already 1-0 for Clouded, just going into that second map the same way they ended the first one.
Exactly, so we're going to see a little bit more aggression. Same kind of bomb from Charlie here. This time, though, they lost OJ much sooner, so they will trade a frag. This is still this fairly equal kind of position. It's all going to be on Gona, but he's playing so far towards Choke. He's not really able to move forward with his scouts, and now Callum and In's taking so much damage here. It just seems like the timing's completely off the side of Yakuza, and Drezzy's just calling it for his team. He's like, we can't, guys, we can't. We're taking so much damage. Everyone's on different kind of, you know, synchronizations here, and he just has to give up the mid and potentially even second here.
And we can see that Gona learned from his mistake right on the second middle. He didn't push forward this time, but I feel like Charlie did so much work. He picked up two players and pretty much made everybody from Yakuza look for him in the backline. So that's pretty much how Matty was able to cover so much ground and just get ground control on that middle fight. In the end, when there's stickies all around, you can't do much as a scout, no matter how well you dodge. So nice adaptation here from Gona, but in the end, that was individual play from Charlie that made the difference, and when the teams are evenly scaled, it's pretty much always up to solo play. And as I say that, I think that's Buri who just claims a frag, and Drezzo died. That was from Charlie. I missed that, but that's huge.
Absolutely the worst trade I think I've seen in so long. I mean, they do actually pick up cars right at the end here, so a little bit of a kind of saving grace there, but that was just so optimistic to just try and Uber in there and just try and take that trade, and just, I don't know, they had so much worse than Uber, but then they still dropped their soldier. I mean, Drezzo and his soldier just completely unaware of where each other was. It's just so weird. You wouldn't expect it from a team of this level. There's some serious communications going on with the entire combo of Yakuza here, so they are now going to be forced towards their last. They did get a little frag here. They're going to be peeking just a bit towards lobby, but realistically, how much can they do here?
It was pretty much an Uber trade that went bad for Yakuza, except no Uber was used on that fight. But yeah, I don't really know what happened. I feel like Charlie bombed in blind somehow, and there were no scouts really to deny him properly, and Drezzo had no other choice but to die, if you can call that a choice. And now Ubers are going to be even. Everybody from Clary is waiting outside. There's going to be heavy in the hands of Ins, so interesting to see that Clary have no off classes, so it's gonna be a cookie cutter push. I'm expecting to see maybe a double sack or maybe a single sack first to see how it goes, and I see OJ already Riverside trying to call for the hold and getting ready to jump, but he's getting jumped, and Everex claims the frag on Riverside. It's going to be a reset, and I wouldn't be surprised to see someone go onto that middle spawn to maybe pick up an off class in the meantime.
Definitely, I mean, losing a frag there, it's not too much of a thing. Again, it's so difficult as long as Clarted plays sensibly. It's so difficult for Yakuza to try and do anything. It's actually, Soldiers getting really deep on River, trying to make something happen. So they have forced Clarted at least away, but they are trading frag. They're trading a lot of players, and actually an Uber's come out from the side of Drezzo, and I believe that's Everex, and I mean, Kaz is so far away at this point. Matty Azien is actually playing really by himself. Not quite sure what's happening, but he's hitting every pipe, so it doesn't matter. How has this happened? The entire combo just collapses, and now it's basically just in standing on last. There's nothing the Soldier can do, really. He's just going to get cleaned up, and that's going to be a second round for Clarted. That's just disastrous.
Yeah, I don't know what was that Uber, but Drezzo would have been better off dropping Everex and go back, and I think they got too eager to push here. Both Yunu and Everex got really low. One of them died onto that top push, and yeah, Drezzo probably would have preferred to drop Everex and leave, because it resulted in terrible Uber uses, and then it was pretty much an easy free highway onto last for clarted.
I mean, it's definitely not looking good for Yakuza. It doesn't seem like they're really shaking off any kind of mental fatigue from the last game, but they're going to try and make a difference this mid. Nice, really deep soldier bomb, getting a lot of damage, forcing clarted so much towards this choke, but actually we still have both the scouts on the side of clarted getting so much damage, almost a little bit aggressive just then, so a little bit too much, and I think Yakuza might just about manage to win out this mid fight, but OJ still under. He does get one rocket onto Drezzo, actually doesn't quite hit anything else, so nice little dodges from Drezzo, but this will ultimately be, well, about equal Ubers by the time anyone's able to do anything. This is a tiny advantage for cars, but realistically, they can't be too aware of that.
I mean, they can, but Charlie's bombing in onto Gonai, can't really connect the second rocket. Look at the aggression from Gas. It's already putting Gonai extremely low and pushing out Drezzo. And now it looks like it's going to be a trade maybe, but there's the high ground advantage for Yakuza. This is extremely well made in style, so it's pretty bad now. But Drezzo still haven't used his own Ubers. Looks pretty good now, and for once it looks like Yakuza are taking the better end of that stick, because they're in a better position right now. But the bomb from OJ trying to connect onto Gonai, can't go, oh, the pipe, and the rocket misses, but that was a nice attempt from OJ. But yeah, finally Drezzo is able not to use his Uber, and finally some light at the end of the tunnel for Yakuza.
I mean, in all of that frag on Agona is actually super important. I mean, it does look like Yakuza, they're going to push just as the demo's spawning, so they do have a pyro to deal with, and it is 75% on the side of cars. They've already made this rotation towards right spawn, and there are there's stickies all over point, and no gun really to deal with. They're now going to be trying to focus down cars, so this is starting to look good for Yakuza. It does look like they are going to be able to take around as long as they can deal with these soldiers on the backside of point.
And they do it quite nicely, and they're back into that game, and this is pretty much the round that Yakuza needed. They had a really nice aggressive middle. They got a better Uber trade because Drezzo was in no harm's way, so he didn't have to use his own Uber. And this is exactly what Yakuza needed to go back into that game, both mentally and score-wise. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them going into that fourth mid the exact same way.
I think this mid's going to be clarted, trying to take it all the way to the Yakuza side. They're going to get one frag pretty quickly, but they're actually going to get forced to their own floor here. So the height is all going the way of Yakuza. The frags mostly the way of ints, but it does seem like these last little bits of the fight, I mean, yeah, you know, clarted, they gave up the position, but the way they're playing these mids, they're so patient. They're really focusing down these frags between Charlie and OJ. They're getting so much damage, and now it's just going to be Everex trying to get onto cars, but I mean, you could see how far Cars away was. He was absolutely at no risk there at all. And this is going to be just such a patient mid, but it just seems like they're playing so much smarter.
Yeah, I feel like again, this is the second middle now that Gonai is being completely disconnected from the rest of his team. He died after like 2 seconds from spam rockets. I don't think he expected his team to, especially Drezzo, to climb up the elbow, and he was maybe expecting Drezzo to play with him on the ground. And now there's got to be an Uber being used maybe onto Maddie, or no, they just decide to take space onto the shutter door. But yeah, really bad mid after the one that happened earlier, and this is Gonai needs to step up and to be more connected to the rest of his teams.
Definitely seems super weird. We're going to see this Uber now from Clarted going top right, taking some decent position. Going to be dealing with this gun. Still stickies towards point. There's still actually a couple frags potentially on top right. Ince is actually basically by himself, buying a lot of space for his team to actually be able to rotate back out this left-hand side. Both scouts from the side of Clarted are going to mince down this heavy, so Uber for Drezzo, nope, he's going to die on 70%, so there's no real chance at all. And once again for Clarted, they can play as slow as they need to. Ince is in spawn. That's going to be a third round.
Their last pushes are really clean. They know that usually when the demo plays under, you have two options: either to play the high ground or to get a scout with the Uber to go for him at the point. And it looks like they always want to get the high ground and get control of the last and take care of the demo last. So it's pretty well executed because they don't rush anything. They just get the frag with spam and take ground. So it's pretty well made. Again, I feel like the calls are extremely efficient on the Clarted side.
Really does just seem like they know something that Yakuza don't. And on this mid, they'll be going for some really equal kind of plays. Again, both teams going a little bit more passive. It seems seems like Yakuza is still lacking a little bit of kind of aggression, a bit of a game plan. Like they're taking some good position towards point, but they're just kind of losing frags here and there. We see Everex so far forward away from his team. Drezzo and Callum completely disconnected, and they're both basically one rocket, and they're dead. They have to get out, and it's just... I don't even know if you can explain what the Yakuza mid plan is, because that mid was just walk up to point, stand around and die.
I don't even know if Yakuza knows what they want to do in middle. Yunu played drop down a bit and he did actually quite a lot of damage, but the rest of his teammates were not able to walk up a point and try to take that space that Yunu was giving to them. So again, I feel like it's really down to miscommunication, pretty much what's happening to Yakuza so far. Good things though, they didn't lose Drezzo, so maybe they don't have to go back to the last and just hold, so they may want to try.
It's another trade. They're going to walk straight through. Cars still not using. It's about 70% better Uber. This soldier's going to try and go behind. He actually does get onto Mattier's end, but looks like he's going to get focused down right at the end here. And this chase comes in. So much damage. Gona's going to die. Drezzo's super weak towards Shutter, but they're focusing this frag onto Callum first. Callum's going to be really weak. What an air shot from Charlie. And yes, you know, they may not have got Drezzo out of that, but they got 3 frags that they needed. And it's still a long time before we're going to have all 6 up on the side of Yakuza. It does look like Clarted don't quite feel like pushing off that player advantage though. I mean, I know they have 2 rounds ahead. There was a bit of an opportunity, but I don't know, they're peeking and prodding towards lobby. They're going to try and get 2-3 players in. Actually going to try and get something onto Drezzo. This will actually be at least 1 frag for them, so
they managed to
combo
get
leaving.
Drezzo, and I don't know, there's really an issue with the way Yakuza is protecting their medics. Either it's Drezzo being weirdly positioned, or just the rest of his teammates not really protecting him really well, but Cost was never in that position where it was in deep trouble, and this is exactly what's happening to Drezzo now. So yes, Yakuza are able to push back onto that second point, but it's pretty much because Clarted is letting them do that, and I see Gassy, he's not playing power, he's playing heavy, so still some nice off-class shenanigans, and with that big of an Uberrad, it's gonna be pretty easy for Clarted to at least claim the second point and maybe go to last straight away.
Yeah, this is so scary. They've now lost their demo on the side of Yakuza. Yeah, Uber's been forced for Clarted, but I mean, Drezzo and the rest of his guys, they're going to be so scared right now because they're just all standing towards River. 2 frags though actually from Everex, so this is the start of something maybe. Uni's going to try and be dealing with a scout towards point, but there's stickies on point. At any point, Mattier's can just start playing it. There's going to be such a clear focus. These pipes coming out. The shotgun though from Unu actually picking up 2 frags there and actually almost single-handedly managed to hold that last, so something a little bit different, but it definitely worked.
So I understand that Yakuza is feeling a bit pressured by time because they're losing to 3-1, but there's still so much time. They don't have to rush things the way they do. I feel like they're being a bit too carried away in the way they want to play, and they're playing so risky. It's not really helping their case right now, and Yunu somehow playing roamer and with the shotgun. We haven't seen that side in quite a long time, but it worked out well for them. And now we can see Charlie playing Spy, and with a heavy and a spy, it's a lot of things to look for Yakuza.
It is, and with sticky traps taken down Gona, this is so bad. Charlie's going to walk behind. I don't think Drezzo has any idea at all. I don't think Charlie has any idea. He's going to take down Callum, actually. He's actually going to surf away. Oh, he will actually die while invisible, so Drezzo does maintain his Uber, and really weird situation, but it does actually seem like Yakuza can still try and do something here. There was an opportunity where Clarted just wasn't quite set up, but it does look like this is going to go back to an equal Uber, a little bit of a stalemate kind of situation. We're going to see some more shenanigans happening.
And I was saying how Yakuza was playing too quickly, and this time was exactly the time where they needed to be fast because they have the Uber app, but they decided to take it slow. I mean, losing Gona right when they pushed on mid didn't really help them, but yeah, I feel like there's once more a kind of misunderstanding how to play the map right now, how the flow is going, and they're going fast when they should be slow, and the other way around. So yeah, clearly something is off for them tonight. I don't know if it's a pressure or if it's the usual problem they have as a team, but yeah, it's really hurting them really bad right now.
Definitely feels like of the combo. I mean, we're seeing these trades between Drezzo and Everex is not really achieving anything, and then half the time it just seems like Gona's just playing so far away in such a weird position that he's just getting taken down, and we're just seeing the exact opposite from the side of Clarted. There's so much more focus as a combo. They're just a unit moving through every single point they're going towards, so we do see in all of that Unu trying to make something happen. He will lose his life, but this is an opportunity for some kind of off-class. It does seem like Clarted don't feel like forcing the issue. You know, it's 14 minutes left to go, a lot of time, but they're 2 rounds up. They know that the ball is truly in Yakuza's court here. They've got to be the guys to make something happen.
Yeah, and they've been the better team until now, so they know that if the trade happens, they will probably take the better end of it, so they don't have to force Destiny. And look at Gazi being trapped, gets Callum, but in the end that's a 2-for-1 trade for Yakuza, and they can get someone behind, but Charlie reads that perfectly, and it's kind of a messy fight now. Ince is alone, he's fighting Mari at the end, he gets the frag actually, it's a Uber trade, but it looks like it's gonna go a bit better,
no,
but
please.
no, Trezor completely disconnected, he straights up, but what happened here? Trezor was completely unknown after the Uber left abandoned by his teammates, and this is something that never happened to Kaz, because Kaz always had people to play around him.
This is absolutely insane. We do actually see in all of this, Kona's going to try and make something happen. He kills one with the sticky trap, but Kaz is going to be dodging all the way towards the point, and now Shutter where he can link up with his demo man, so does seem like a nice little situation. Good pipes are coming out, and Matty A's the end this time, playing just a little bit too far out, but always ready to jump away, so looks like there's a good read on Clarted, and you know, they've effectively got 3 guys who can actually deal with point. I feel like they've just got to be a little bit patient here, you know? They can maybe contest, but they've got to do it super, super slowly. Seems like Gaz still wants to, but I don't know, there's so much time towards point. Charlie is going to be jumping to the high ground, and it does seem like Yakuza is going to at least respect this a little bit. All but Gona, who might get picked off again. He's be so weak, but he will actually get out through choke. Oh my god, just to go back there for a second for that trade, I think that's the 3rd trade we've seen already this game, where Drezzo's died at the end of it. It's just, these reads are just not working.
They just can't keep him alive, and I feel like this is mostly due to his scout, Pocket Scout not playing around him, the Uber is being used onto choke. Drezzo has Uber as well, so it's basically just a trade, and it looks like Yakuza want to take that space. Charlie above choke is going to spam everyone out, he's going to pick up Gona once more, being completely disconnected. And of course Cars dies because he's being chased by pretty much the whole red team, and they managed to get the better end of that stick once more maybe, but it's gonna be not only Gas trying to win that fight. Gets Trezor mid HP, and I think that's the first team fight that after Unibird that went into the way of Yakuza, so maybe some slight show of improvement, and they need to be better as a whole, as a team. And I think again once more Gona needs to be more in touch with his medic, because right now this is not working well for them.
It really isn't, but they have in all of this managed to get themselves a nice Uber advantage. Clearly easy enough to push last, but you know, we've seen some really good last pushes from Clarted, but we haven't really seen that much of an opportunity for Yakuza. I mean, it's the kind of situation I feel like on this map where if you're just not particularly good at pushing last, it's one of those things where it's so difficult to fix on the spot, or if the other team's just got a really good last hold, it's so rough to try and, you know, come up with new fresh ideas. And Uber does come out. It's actually 75% on car, so it's going to be one of these Ubers where they can't waste time forever. This gun is going towards floor. It's going to just about get taken down in the later part of this Uber. It's now actually going to fade completely. Charlie gets cleaned up, so good there, but Kaz has got his Uber. It's going to be solo on a scout. Callum's going to get taken down along with Yunu, and now it's going to be Drezzo getting chased out main and losing his life for it. Now, the only thing that's going to matter for Clarted is just making sure they can pay attention to point. They do lose Kaz right at the end of this, so it's only Everex and Ince. Ince losing his life, and it should be Everex will just about die right at the end, so not the cleanest hold for Clarted just then, but I mean, it isn't a round for Yakuza. It's still, you know, 2-round advantage for Clarted.
Yeah, what hurt Yakuza here is that they went into the house completely blind, and they didn't have to use for the shuttle because there were no sticky or sniper to use for Callum dies trying to contest that point, and Gunnar dies as well.
No.
Again, this is such a crumble. Look at Drezzo, it's already so far back. I don't know what was the call here. But I can't keep... I have to say, there's so much problem in the communication right now for Yakuza. You can't let that happen, and it has to be down to communication, because who would call that to fight that when the half of the team is playing back?
It's, yeah, it seems absolutely insane. It's just, it's either no one's talking or the information just isn't getting through to people, because that was a situation where it's just like, surely there's no way they can contest second, and they just lose one guy and another guy and another guy. It's all just one by one people are going in and they're losing their lives constantly. We do see now Everex with a big bomb trying to deny this ability for Kaz to go through choke, and he does actually take him down. So, oh my god, if Drezzo loses his life here, he's playing so far in front of his team. Garner just couldn't deny this choke point, and really the scouts never got to this choke point either. It just seems, I mean, if they're not going to get to the choke, they have to play further back. Surely play the height, play anything better than just standing on the ground, surely.
Yeah, because no matter how good you are at juking, if you're getting bombed by 3 people, you're gonna die eventually, no matter who you are and how good you are. So this is pretty much the fate reserved to Drezzo this game. the contest is happening for Clarted. They actually managed to claim 2, but Matty dies as well. But in the end, it's the better trade for them because they get once more. They get 4, and I can't help to think that just something is off right now. And I can't. Maybe it's like Yakuza being upset or something. Because again, it was basically only Dredzo and Gona up. They could have used that time to build the Uber, but no, Gona was holding lobby while Dredzo was on last. So there's obviously something wrong happening right now because it's not going to be an Uber disadvantage when the Uber should have been even for both teams.
I mean, at this point, it's getting about 8 minutes. There's 2 rounds in it. It's definitely doable for Yakuza, but they just need to... I don't know, they need to just find something which works for them. Find, you know, either adapt their playstyle or just, you know, pull some magical pushes outside of, you know, whatever they can pull things out of, because just nothing's worked so far. OJ solo jumping in by himself. He gets 1 rocket, but it doesn't look like Dredzo's going to force it. So it would have been absolutely disastrous if they'd got forces out of all things, and it's going to be some fast pushing towards main. An opportunity perhaps to try and get towards top and maybe take some kind of choke, maybe get some kind of player. Matty Azien playing too far forward. He does get the force before dying, so another situation where Kaz is just going to back all the way up with the rest of his team. He knows, hey, I can just play in this choke point. Everything's fine. And we do actually have a pause right now, so we have a little bit of a break just to look to see what's going on. I mean, you know, we see Kaz, he's just so far out. There's going to be no chance at all of him getting forced. This should just be such an easy repush, and I feel like the way Clarted have been playing, they're going to take second for free, get probably a frag off it as well, and just go straight through to last.
Yeah, this is a situation we've seen before already where Dredzo pushes top with the rest of his teams. He has to use maybe there's going to be a cap on second for Yakuza, but in the end there's going to be a massive Uber ad for Cars, as you just mentioned. He was so far back when Dredzo went onto that riverside. So again, maybe Clarted has such a good read onto Yakuza's plays that they just know everything and they can expect anything and adapt. So maybe this is what's happening. I don't really know, but I feel like Clarted, they don't really have to play that well to be the better team tonight. They just basically are feeding off the mistakes from Yakuza.
Yeah, I definitely 100% agree with that. It seems like so many of these situations, it's not really Clarted finding fantastic opportunities. It's just literally Yakuza making mistakes. I feel like, yeah, exactly like I said, Clarted just need to make sure they don't make 100 mistakes a minute, and it's fine. Yakuza's going to feed you the opportunities. This time, playing super far forward towards point, Uber's going to get popped up. They're going to be killing Gona here, so once again, no more Demonist. Can actually be a really, really fast main push. It's going to be a scout towards main, trying to deal with something. This one's going to get cleaned up, but there's going to be some scrappy fighting towards main. Seems like OJ's going to try and get onto last, or at least towards River to try and deny something, but Callum's getting 2 frags, and okay, this does look like it's going to be a decent little hold for Yakuza now. They didn't feed too early, they didn't do anything super crazy there, so with a lot of stickies to deal with. Callum's not going to check him in time, and I mean, equal players, but I feel like we're just going to see the same kind of thing from Clarted where, you know, they're winning, they don't have to take these dodgy fights.
And they shouldn't. I think they're playing that perfectly. And when that was that push out onto second point from Yakuza, we saw once more Gona being completely disconnected from Dredzo, where Dredzo was on top of the point. Well, Gona was on the ground and it got picked up by that Uber quite easily by Vuri. So again, pretty much the same situation happening over and over again. Back cap is happening. There, 2 people are being back, and the points actually contested when he was about to be capped.
This is such a good Uber for Clarted. That's ridiculous. That was perfectly timed. You saw how much cap time was there for Yakuza, and they fully committed to this back cap. It doesn't look like OG's going to quite get there unless he's got pain train in. Oh my, this is going to be so ridiculously close, and he gets it!
That's crazy.
Ridiculous!
That's crazy.
Oh
he had pain train, right?
He did. He had pain train. 100%. Pain train single-handedly won that round.
That's because in the end that wasn't too bad for Yakuza, but that play from that double back cap and that play from OJ was such a saving grace here for
they fully committed though. They fully committed with that Uber,
again,
and it was perfect. It went exactly how they needed it to.
Synchronicity was perfect.
Absolutely fantastic. So now this is extending their lead to 3 rounds now. Yunu getting taken out super early in this mid, so once again it's a bit of a 6v5. And finally a frag gets exchanged. Some good position. Callum, 2 frags to his name already this mid. Some good position and Clarted. I feel like they're going to start playing the time game, you know?
and they would be pretty right to do that because they really have no reason to rush things. They're 3 round up. Look at that cheeky little sticky trap from Matty. If he maybe, oh, he almost picked up Drizzle. That was so close actually, but it didn't happen. So I'm not gonna linger on that for too long. And now it's gonna be a similar Uber situation. Both teams gonna have the Uber, and pretty much Yakuza need the perfect push here.
I mean, it's already quite good the fact they managed to get through Shutter without using. They do have to use quite a good bit earlier. Oh my god, Kaz is milking just so much, and they're going to get 1 frag already. There's some weak players behind point for Clarted though, so it is actually going to force Kaz towards it. And it just seems like Yakuza's going this little bit too early now. All of the players are in front, and Clarted know that they can push out. They know that they can, you know, as long as they see Drezzo and they see Gona, this is going to be all that matters. I mean, that feels like such a throwaway opportunity, you know? There were so many Clarted players forced towards point. If Yakuza were just that little bit slower, but rushing things, they're just panicking.
And I'm happy to see that Cassie tuned in for a bit and spring Pyro now. We've talked about that before, so it's nice to see that happening for real.
Oh, he's doing it.
He's
He's fully believing with it. He's actually playing towards Shutter with his medic, and unfortunately it's not really going to make a great deal of difference. There's going to be some frags trading here and there. The Pyro does get 1, but this is actually an opportunity for Yakuza to off Uber push, and really they don't have much of a choice. They have 3 rounds and 4 minutes, so second's going to be theirs. This Uber's going to be coming up for cars in just about 3 seconds really. They've got this Pyro. I mean, I feel like Yakuza has no choice but to try and make some kind of trade through Shutter, and it is going to be using through Shutter. Again, much better use for Kaz. He's going to be playing with so much more of an Uber advantage here in terms of this, you know, Uber trade. But once again, they are being forced a lot towards point. There is a Pyro, there is a Soldier, there is a Medic there, but it's going to be all about the slow play from Yakuza. Can they fix what they've been mistaking every other time? And it actually looks like they can. It's only really Kaz and this Pyro towards point. Now a late spawn. Matty's going to get taken down. Is this the start of the comeback?
Maybe, I wish, so we can see a third map. That was a really messy, scrappy fight, and I thought Gazi for a moment would completely crush the hopes of Yakuza with that Pyro, but in the end it worked okay. That's 4-2 now, so we've seen many mids failed for Yakuza, and we shouldn't see one now, because if we see one now, this is pretty much it, so they need to be efficient right now.
They're going to be efficient and they're going to be aggressive. Both soldiers going super deep, good damage, forcing Kaz towards the enemy side, but he's going to lose his life. These rockets again coming onto Kaz, and yep, Kaz is going to die. I mean, that was a really heavy commit, and OJ actually manages to pick up some frags off it, and it's going to be really scrappy, but these last little bits, the scouts from the side of Clarted, really good at cleaning up those last little bits of damage, and this is now 2 minutes 40, and it's 2 rounds. It's literally got to be a case of spawn and go.
It's actually amazing to see that 1 soldier is enough for to get Drizzle down when it comes to bombs for Clouded, when you need at least three players from Yakuza to take down cost and to apply pressure. So we've seen that in product before, and they're just replicating that perfectly here. And now it's probably they need to dry push this to choke and try to get the better end of that fight. Otherwise they're gonna get doomed. And I see Ains already try to take some attention from the back lines.
Oh my lord, Charlie playing close all by himself. He's going to take down Drezzo. And with Ince dying on the sidelines, it's going to be just another position where Kaz, playing with the rest of his team, just pumping these heals out. And it's just, I mean, Calm's desperately trying to make something happen, but he's not going to win that 1v1, especially not when this demo and meta comes in as well. And there's 1 minute 50, and unfortunately for the side of Yakuza, the players are already calling it GG.
Well, I mean, I think technically this time, if you make it a rule, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Carter should take this home, should win that Div 2 finals, and I mean they've been a better team. There's really no debate here, no argument to be made, because yes, there were some moments for Yakuza, but overall Charlie and his teammates were just the better ones tonight.
Just consistently so much more together as a team. We are going to see this kind of, you know, almost post game at this point. Little Uber come in, and it actually seems like one of the better holds for Yakuza. So maybe this is all they needed. All they needed was just get Clarted complacent, make them think they've won. You know. But yeah, I think that is going to be it. This will be a congratulations to the side of Clarted. Like I said, winning Div 2 in well, 2 clean maps in the grand finals. It's definitely, like I said, more resistance from the side of Yakuza than Viaduct, but I mean, it's got to feel good as a team to win through just, it seemed like sheer team play, you know, focusing down those players from Yakuza who would just consistently overextend, consistently not play with the rest of their team, you know, focus down these kind of communication problems and just trust that your game plan is going to work, because you know, the Yakuza game plan just wasn't working. There was something seriously just dysfunctional.
And I mean, when you look at it from the perspective of or how they call clarted, they've beaten the Div 2 first place in the semifinals. Now they're beating the Div 2 first place, Div 2A first place in the final. So they pretty much beaten everyone that was there to be beaten to take that title. So it's a well deserved win here. You can't tell that they stole anything because they've pretty much beaten everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it worked hard, and as much as it was a crazy way of winning a round, I feel like that ultra commit Uber trade into a pain train back up was kind of the round that sealed it. Up until that point, it was always like, you know, Yakuza could try and make their way back in, but between that and the time, you know, the clock was always playing against Yakuza. I feel like that one little thing made it work out. But again, congratulations to Clarted, fantastic gameplay from them. Commiserations to Yakuza, but they still get a fancy silver medal. You know, it isn't too bad. They don't get the player participation medals at least.
True, that's pretty much. But I think tonight that's not what they were going for, and this will be a little to support them in their tragic fall into alcoholism and stuff like that. Because this is what happened when you lose Div 2, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna take a quick look at the logs, and Vori just popping off with that juicy 35 kills, and I think it was pretty much down to waiting for the people to jump cars and just cleaning them up. That was pretty much Vori's stories on both these maps.
I mean, us immediately first thing I was thinking was, okay, let's have a look at some deaths, and obviously the deaths for well, Yakuza being the losing team is going to be like, you know, far more. But I think if you compare kind of demo deaths, it's not absolutely insane. You know, Gona's 20 to Matiasien's 13. It's not absolutely ridiculous, but it definitely seemed like that Yakuza was playing without a demo far more often. You know, there were some really key moments where you just got to keep them alive to either keep control of a point or just keep some general spam going, and it just consistently just would not work. And yeah, definitely not the kind of thing you want to see. Like I said, some good frags going the way of the scouts on the side of Clarted, but I don't know. I feel like it wasn't outside the realms of possibility from a DM point of view. It just seemed like all of the players individually from Yakuza could have made things happen, but it just, yeah, it was like they hit their shot still. It was just the team play.
Yeah, and I think the difference between Gona and Maddie just highlights that perfectly, because yes, Gona died a bit more, but usually when you die more as a demo, you use that position being more forward to actually pump up some damage, but he's way behind Maddie on damage as well, so something clearly was off. This is not something that how they usually play, I feel like, and maybe this was simply not their night, which is a pretty bad night to have a bad night, if I may say so. But yeah, that Gona Maddie discrepancy, I think this is pretty much the key of that game. Maddie playing perfectly off his players, whereas Gona was constantly disconnected from the rest of his teams, especially from Dredzo.
I think we can have at least one person coming here. Oh, we have actually a few members of. Oh my lord, I think half of Clarted just joined the channel above. We do have Yunu here right now though. So how's it going? Commiserations.
Hello.
I think first question, the one which is on everyone's mind, is it wasn't so much. I don't know how much you would have seen from your point of view. Maybe it's a comms thing. What was happening in terms of the combo for you guys? It just seemed like there was just a complete lack of coordination or just synergy. Like something was going wrong. Is this something which you've seen in previous games, or is this just something which kind of came out of the blue today?
Combination of lack of scrims, pressure from grand finals. Yeah, that's it.
Definitely, you know, and I'm sure all the adoring fans you don't want to let down who kind of who watched it live. You know, lovely little audience. Definitely felt
Thank
weird.
you for watching.
Yeah, no, I think people were pretty excited, were enjoying things. Definitely Viaduct. First thing we thought that was a really interesting map to go into. Kind of going into Viaduct, did you have any kind of expectations? Did you have any kind of weird plans we didn't get to see, or were you just kind of thinking, you know, we'll kind of play standard, we'll just kind of play it our way, and that's going to be enough to work for us?
It was their pick, so I think they had more of a plan. we haven't really had too many opportunities to have a plan
Hello?
for a long
Hello.
time. Hello.
Oh my lord! I think we have the entirety of Clarted who just turned up. Congratulations!
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Congratulations.
Cheers, brother.
Congratulations.
There's
It's a very good game.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy way to win it as well. It just seemed like you guys were just absolutely dominating on Viaduct, and as much as Gullywash was a little bit closer, it just seemed like you guys were always in control. Kind of, question I guess to any of you guys, did it feel like from our point of view, it felt like you guys were just kind of playing your game and letting Yakuza make mistakes? Was that an active decision you were making, or was it just, a byproduct of you played your way and, you didn't make any real intention of focusing down these like kind of random flank
It
players?
was like a bit of slow play and also just fistage.
A bit of
Fair.
a mixture. After we got in the lead, we started slowing down, let them try and push us.
I
What
took
if-
many retarded trades as well, which was pretty funny.
Whose call was that?
No,
That
like
is
some of them
a pretty
worked,
important
but I think like a few times I think I went in like really deep and did fuck tons of damage or whatever, didn't like kill anyone, but then like
swear.
they had a longer Uber, so they just pushed through choke and killed our players, so it didn't really work so well. I don't know.
It kind of felt like the Yakuza side was just kind of going up against a bit of a brick wall, kind of. And I don't know, is this the kind of thing which you guys kind of just like ran out of ideas on the spot? You kind of couldn't really make anything work, or is it just a case of you weren't able to make that adaptation? You kind of knew what was going wrong, but just didn't have time to fix it over those 30 minutes.
Pretty much. We haven't scrimmed at all. I don't know if Janu was saying this before, but
Yeah.
we've been the season, like the fact we're in the grand finals at all is absolutely incredible. Like we shouldn't be, Like we've had a different roster, I think, for every single official. I've played like 2 or 3 different classes, and yeah, so
I'm literally the only player who hasn't switched a role during
Yeah, I
the
think so.
season.
So we don't have strats. We don't have like practice under our belt. We don't really sort of like Callum was murking as well. He played in the semi-finals. Like Callum plays really well. He's really good. But
Shout out to Callum.
yeah, well, thanks,
Thank
Callum.
you, Callum.
Appreciate it.
Ombrack, have you got any burning questions you want to ask our players?
Yeah, I want to ask Charlie something. So when that team came to be alive, I remember some famous player being in there. He's not.
Yes, there
He's
was.
not in the roster anymore. So why did you make that change to the Galact team that you've assembled?
Well-
We actually sent out a statement on that on TFTV if you want to give it a read. It really explains everything
Especially
you
on
want
the
to know.
article.
Yeah. But Charlie, you can clarify
Still-
anyway if you want to.
Oh, I don't think there's any more that needs to be said than is already in the article.
I mean,
Cat
don't you
had
feel like you've
some
betrayed your
serious-
friend?
Nah, he was awful.
Friend.
Nah, he was more of an accomplice than a friend.
Kabakar led
Rest his
us to the
soul.
final in spirit.
He was there in spirit.
He was there fighting alongside us.
I see. He was more of a grunt than a gym leader. I see.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I like what you've done there.
Thank you. I've practiced that line before class. So.
Front of the mirror.
I'm gonna go. Good game, guys.
Bye.
See you later, mate. Well played.
Thank you, OJ. Thank you.
Yeah, see you like.
Thank you.
Oh my lord, I think Kaz is going to turn up right at the end.
Oh god,
Um,
cars.
Oh my god. Okay, we'll
Nightmare.
give him a couple seconds in the sun, but I think we might want to wrap it up
Wrap
fairly
up,
soon.
yeah.
Yeah,
Get
give
Cars
it a
in there, he's
wrap,
got a lot to say.
honestly.
Cars got a lot to say.
I don't.
Right. Let's have a little chat, Kaz. What do you think went so well for you guys? What do you think went so badly for Yakuza?
Kars is just a genius.
I don't know. They took
He's
bad
a- he's a-
trades.
Alright, cheers for that.
Famous quotes.
I think that
famous
that
words,
wraps it
wise
up.
words.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alright.
Well, I think we call it. day,
Cheers,
boys. Back in.
guys. That was amazing shot.
Fantastic.
I think what he's trying to say
Perfect
is we lost because Charlie hit 10 air shots.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him playing full smallest. Did I?
I did.
Thank you.
I think,
I like
honestly,
it
Thank
better.
you, Everett.
I think it all came down to that pain train back up. That was
Oh,
the most
yeah, that was quite
ridiculous
good.
timing back
That's
up I've
true.
seen
Yeah,
like
It
ever.
was beautiful.
I think it was
Gosh.
just Car's main calling. Like
Yeah, to
we
be fair.
switched off Charlie and switched over to Cars.
Without
and just
Charlie,
Charlie flawless
dreadful
everything.
caller.
Cars was
Good
the
luck.
orchestrator in our
I'm
team.
happy that I got grounded by my team and that Cars got the main calling role. It really swayed the balance.
It did. It really helped.
Shout out to Cabal His idea.
speaking of shout-outs, I think we're going to wrap it up. We're going to do
Well,
some quick
I have
shout-outs.
one more
Oh,
question for
Go for it,
Charlie and the
Ombrack.
rest of his teammates. What's the future for you? Are you just gonna all go back to pugs, or is there a
Going
future
Div 1
for
and
that
opening
team?
games.
Well,
Ooh.
PokerStars.uk. OJ, you got any?
Got
You're
any,
the main
got
man.
any plans for this team? Well, there are
There's
there
a
are
few
but I
planning
don't know if
works,
they,
you know.
there's stuff in the pipeline going on.
There's rumors
Just,
about Catpoker returning to the main
Copenhagen
roster.
LAN, there might be a new team in the invite bracket, new powerhouse team. That's
Looking
all I'm really
forward to
gonna
that.
say.
I'm going to take your word for it. I think this is it. This is going to be our moment of wrapping up. This is going to be the very end of our Div 2 Grand Finals. This is, we're going to take some moment to do some quick shout-outs. Going to do it in the order in Mumble. Charlie, anyone quick?
Shout out to Catbokar and thank you for that stream.
Good stuff. Daisy, I don't think we even said hi to you because you turned up super last minute, but you get your moment to shout out.
Yeah, it's fine. Shout out to Catpoker. I hope he gets well soon. Shout out to like everybody in Rinko, and shout out to Beta for not accepting my friend request.
Yikes.
That's cold, you knew.
Shout outs to Catbokar and Hempus and my team.
Cars?
Shout out to Cabokar, Rush, Leuvenraal Army, and Seeker.
Jesus, mate, chill.
Go for it, Mr. Matty Azien.
Shout out Vori. Shout out OJ.
Yes, boy.
Shout out Hugo. Shout out Tom288.
Jesus.
You know the order. OJ, come on.
Shout out Hugo and James and Eli. And Catbokar. I hope you recover from your substance abuse.
And shout out Stinghan.
Oh yeah, shout out Stingan, shout out Disos, shout out Massey, and shout out gym leader Sabrina from Saffron City.
She's fair.
Isn't she?
Lovely.
PogChamp.
Everex.
Shout out to Seeds for being the best medic on the planet.
Shout out Seeds.
He's also maybe Vori.
Maybe.
Shout out Vori.
Shout out Vori.
I love Vori.
Why Seeds here? Or are you lying?
Vori.
Shout out to
I'm in love with you.
Shout out to Catbokar. I hope he recovers from his ligma soon.
Lovely. I have no idea.
That's super funny.
Yeah.
It's lovely. Is that Vori? Is that not Vori? Unfortunately, you've now voided your ability to shout out.
What? No, I'm Sabrina. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm ignoring Vori, maybe. Ombrack, give me your final shout outs. I'm going to say something right at the end, then we're going to leave. We're going to all go bed.
I think I just want to go now. So shout out to people and stuff.
I'm going to shout out our players. I'm going to shout out some good TF2. Shout out the viewers. Congratulations to the winners. Shout out to our sponsors of ETF2L Season 31, which is Copenhagen Games and STN.TF, as always, That's why their name's at the top. They're the big guys funding this whole operation. And obviously shout out to Ombrack and Beta for doing this with me.